Yo, what's up? What's up? It's the Hungry Millennial back again with yet another Proactive Pragmatism. On this Proactive Pragmatism, we carry on with our series Millennials ARE. This next millennial is a father, a barber, and Army supply sergeant. And by the way, he was the one keeping everybody fresh during COVID when we was deployed because we was looking rough and the Army was mad at us, all that. So this next guest I'd like to bring on is Collier Swanagan. Swag, what's going on, brother? How you doing?
Sir, what's good? What's good, man?
You ain't got you can leave all the formalities, you know what I'm saying?
All right, well, it's a pleasure. It's a pleasure to be on your on your podcast, man. I've been checking it out. See, you came back. You came back working, huh? Came back
Always,
working.
always, man. So I've been wondering about this because I've had to and find my own way to cut my, slice myself up, man. What's life looking like out there for barbers during COVID in the States? Because that had to shake you up, right?
Yeah. It's scary. It look. I'm gonna put it like this. So I'm starting right now with the. I don't want to jump ahead if you had questions.
No, you good. Hey, this about you, brother.
Yeah, but so right now I'm trying to start with the barber instructor program. I just see that I gotta take a different lane aside from the normal. You have to. It's a forever growing industry, and even though they didn't consider barbers essential, essentially we were essential to the world. Grooming, the standards of grooming, it's hard to knock that, and it's hard to say, hey, you can't shave your face, you can't get haircuts. It's hard to say that. As a man, you always want to look sharp. As a woman, you always want your hair done a certain type of way. So while we were over in Kuwait, I was fortunate enough to be over there with you. While we were over there, it was hard times for a lot of the barbers that I know and a lot of people, just word of mouth and what was going on with the COVID and the pandemic. So I looked at it like a lesson because even though it's recession proof, it's supposed to be a recession proof career, job, whatever you want to call it, hobby. I had to understand that things like this happen, and it's not 401ks. It was hard for a lot of barbers to even look into employment. When you're self-employed, just an entrepreneur in general, it's certain things like that it's you gotta think outside the box. You gotta use your brain. You have to understand that, like, how can I make this work for myself? How can I keep money rolling? And a lot of people, they weren't keeping money rolling. They were cutting outside of their houses. The shops were being closed down and shut down. There's some shops that I know that still haven't been open for whatever reason, but I don't think it was the easiest. But fortunately enough for me that I was over there in Kuwait and I was able to sustain just myself and keep myself sharp. But that's exactly why I joined the barber instructor program right now, because I'm trying to take it to a whole different level with just a regular storefront shop and things like that. So
that's what's up. That's powerful, because when you start talking entrepreneurship and you start talking ownership and you start talking instructor, that's big major moves. Like, you're making moves like I don't know, man. I've traveled a lot and I've had a lot of barbers that were very, very, very good. But at the same time, it's like, either they own their own shop and they were stuck in the town they were at, or they didn't have a vision after the shop. Because, and I'm gonna go down a rabbit hole, is as an African American, when people see you as an entrepreneur or you got your own gig or you're a barber, they see you as you made it, and COVID showed us that's not the case.
No. And that's the thing. You can't I'm not a person that feel like you can get content with anything and being stuck in any position. So lot of the times people become barbers, and don't get me wrong, because entrepreneurship isn't for everybody, and I get that, I understand that, but some people just want to be in the shop. Hey, let the owner deal with the overhead. I'm just here to cut. I'm just here to get my money. I'm in and I'm out. I ain't got to worry about none of that. But what you got to understand is that, okay, a perfect example. So,
Okay.
a lot of things is really, it's, of course, it's about being a good barber, but having your license is one of the best things that can happen. One, two, with social media, it just gives you an outlet where you can touch thousands and millions of people in a matter of seconds. So at the time when we was over there, and they just, and let's say you remember when they were starting the NBA back up, right?
Yeah.
So for the NBA, they picked 10 barbers. They picked 10 barbers to go and cut in the bubble. You see what I'm saying? So as a person that either like doesn't have their license, is just a hometown person, is just cutting, you don't have that certain type of recognition, you might not have that big platform on social media, which is kind of taking over the industry. Because once you have that platform on social media, and once people see your work and they see your job, then they start to inquire about you. So you can easily become a person that's just, hey, all it takes is one time. You cut that right person at one time, and you turn into a celebrity barber. So what could have stopped anybody from Chicago being one of them 10 barbers?
That's
You see
real.
what I'm saying? So it's like, yeah, for those 10 barbers that were able to cut in that bubble, the money ain't stopped for them. It might have stopped for other people for them, but it's like your show is about millennials, and we're in that era, and we're in that age bracket where we're in between being the coolest and being the old heads. You know what I'm saying? So it's like we're in between where we still have that opportunity to touch a lot of people just off of the little things that we do. A podcast, cutting hair, reaching people. Like I say, it only takes like, as soon as you upload a video, it's reaching thousands and thousands and thousands of people in a matter of seconds. So, like I said, it's what stop people from not being, and I'm not saying everybody want to be in that limelight or everybody want that type of fame or whatever, but what stops them is being proactive and putting themselves out there. When you're a barber, you have to be out here. You
have to.
How else you gonna get your clients? How else you gonna get the clientele? You have to be a person that's working, word of mouth. You got to be out here. So me, I knew I didn't took step back. I didn't took a lot of step back with cutting hair. Unfortunately, I'll be getting out in December of 2021 from the Army.
Looking forward to that.
It's unfortunate.
You got what you needed.
Yeah, because I looked at a lot of things and I'm like, I haven't been able to give my all to my passion because I always was worried about the National Guard. I was always worried about just working another job. When hey, look, you got to jump out on faith. You got to take that leap of faith. You got to believe in yourself and believe in what you know that you can do. And I know that I can supply the world with good haircuts, quality haircuts, good customer service, and I could be something great in that lane, and take it to another level with showing the next generation of young barbers how to be great like that in that lane. That's why I'm doing the barber instructor program as well. So, I'm just trying to think of ways to change it up, also to, keep myself afloat in case something like this happened again. Because like we thought, I thought that being a barber would be recession proof, but it's not. It's definitely not. It's not. You know what I'm saying? It's not. Because if they can shut down the whole base, they can shut down cities, they can write down whatever laws and whatever regulations they want to put enforced that, well, you will never cut again until they want you to cut.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if you could keep it afloat by just having a school or having a few students, things like that, which I do plan on opening a school eventually. If I could just keep it afloat like that, and then we just work from there. So
okay, I might be one of your students. I'm looking into different ventures. So what I'm saying, you get that bad boy open. I got the detailing gig that I'm like, after the next deployment, I'm planning on opening up, and then I'm just trying to do everything mobile. And that's one thing that I've seen a lot of barbers do is the ROI is, it can be very, very beneficial. But the problem is when you get fast money, especially as a brother, right?
Yeah.
You want to ride around and spend it. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of barbers,
we spend it before we get it.
and a lot of barbers, man, they making the bread. They got the honeys coming through the shop. They got the ribs on the ride, and then you like,
it's so easy. It's so easy, bro. Like you can make 500 that day, and you go home with 150, if that, because you done spent it on clothes, shoes, and your whole thing is, I'm gonna make it back tomorrow. You will make it back, but what if you would have saved that 350?
Well, that's real, because that's what happened when I was Ubering in Chicago.
Yeah,
everybody thought Uber was the greatest thing ever. Like,
yeah.
I went and started Ubering in Chicago, like on a whim. Like, I was a GM in Indiana at Jimmy John's, and shout out to them. I learned a lot of good stuff, but I was like, man, this is a lot of stress. Like, I'm working 80 hours a week. I ain't got no managers. Like, they won't hire my managers. Like, they were being bought out like by another organization. It was just a lot of transitioning, and I was like, you know what can I do? And Ubering was quick, and so I go out to the city. I'm like, forget it. We get it out the mud. Like, we didn't come from, lavish background. So I'm like, I done been homeless before. I got a nice whip, I can sleep in the car. I was doing that. I was just doing rides every day, but I wasn't saving no money.
No.
I wasn't putting it away, because as fast as I was getting it, I was putting it out. And then you get the hotel, you want to, what I'm saying? You're like, oh, I got the bread. I just cashed out that night. You feel me? You have a good weekend. It was crazy. You could do 500 a weekend.
Yeah. Easy.
But the problem is, you see them hotels, and you're like, it's just $100.
Yeah,
it's just the you know what I'm saying. You got the breezes, you all around the city, you swiping, you got the honeys coming through. You're like, okay, I'm good. And then you look up like, man, now I got to spend the next week.
And that's the worst feeling in the world, to be like, man, where my money go?
And you had everybody else's discretion.
Yeah.
So if nobody come in, you don't make no money, huh?
You ain't making no money.
if nobody requests you ain't in the right area at the right time.
You ain't making nothing. And that's one of the things about not even barbering, just being an entrepreneur in general, because you can make you'll make 500, 600, 700 one day. In the next few days, you ain't made nothing.
People don't understand that.
So it's like you paying yourself for the next 2 days, you know what I'm saying? Because you ain't made nothing. So you're like, oh,
and your discipline gotta be top notch.
Yeah.
Like, I remember seeing you. Go ahead.
But the thing about it is, it's going. So with the industry, especially with barbering, it'll always slow down for whatever reason. One of the things.
Just slumps? Or like, is there like a period, like during the year where it slow down, or is it just,
bro? It might go anything from winter months, so from fall to winter. Not too many people want to get their haircut during that time.
Oh yeah, they be ragging up. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's cold. It's not the same.
It's frosty. I don't know, bro. I'm gonna be honest with you.
To you're a different person, though. I
had to ask you. I was like, I'm like, hey, how these babblers hit like that? Okay, I'm gonna get these.
That's what I'm saying. You're a different person. Everybody don't be like that. And
that's true.
Another thing that almost single-handedly killed the industry, which happened years ago, was braids. And so now we
dreads, probably.
Now we got the dreads. People still get it lined up, but like the braids, like with Allen Iverson and the NBA, where everybody was getting the cornrows and they wanted the cornrow. We stopped, because even I had an afro to get cornrows. and I had braids. You know what I'm saying? Because that's what was cool.
Yeah.
So like that single-handedly almost killed the barber industry because nobody going to the barbershop. We wasn't really getting linings like that, you know, especially as a shorty.
Yeah, nah.
You
We all
know,
look like little Bow Wow.
right? Yeah, exactly. Being back then, like it wasn't that you really wanted a crispy lining with your braids. You know what I'm saying?
It was so
Now,
rugged about it.
yeah, now it's like it's a little vanity thing where everybody want their line, they want it taper. So even with the dreads, like people still getting, you know, they still getting it tapered, they still getting line. So it's not as bad, but yeah,
How long you been? How long you been in the game? Because it sounds like you've seen a lot of trends. Because I remember back in the day when double liners was something.
Yeah, I came after that trend.
Oh, you ain't sliced no double liners, huh? That wasn't you.
I was cutting my hair around that time, but I wasn't confident enough to put no double lining in my head at that moment. We got to think that was like what 08, maybe 09.
Okay.
So I didn't go.
That's true.
I didn't go to barber school till like 2012. So I went 2012, and then I finished in 2014 and hopped right in the shop. And you know, like I said, I've been taking breaks off. Not giving it my 100%, but it's a different time. Yeah, it's a different time, and I got a different focus with it now. So,
well, sometimes you need that pain.
Yeah,
that Kuwait feel that army snatch you up and send you off. Yeah. I'm telling you, I live totally different now that I came back.
It gave me a whole new outlook on life. Even though it wasn't like, don't get me wrong, it wasn't the worst, but it's just that experience was like, it gave me a different outlook as to like where I want certain things to be in my life. And you know, the military is a gift and a curse. We know that. We know the goods and the bads. You know, we was able to survive.
Well, and that's at all levels.
Yeah.
Because, you know, I'm in the officer ranks. You know, like, here's the thing. Is like Kuwait taught me a lot about myself and about interacting with my peers. And like a lot of the people that's putting you through the ringer is going through the ringer themselves.
Yeah.
And then you throw in the trauma that they had when they joined the military, and now they don't know how to acclimate because somebody just threw them in leadership. You know, it's like they don't. And a lot of you got to think about it. Like a lot of cats, they don't want a career. You know, even officers wise, you know, they want to do their little bit and get out. So when you have that mix of different personalities, it makes it hard. You know what I mean? To get them to be on the same mission.
It is hard because I can say myself, sometimes I got to the point where I'm like, well, I'm getting out next year. So, you know, I hate to say it, but a lot of times you had that I don't care mentality.
No, I get it. I understand.
Like, hey, I only got a few months left. I only got this much left. I don't care. It is what it is. What they gonna do, you know? And it's a poor attitude to have.
Well, you got to think, but that attitude comes with perspective. And so, like, as a leader,
and
I'm the type of leader where I'm like, I know these troops. When I interact with the troop, I'm like, if he gets out tomorrow, I want to make sure that I'm looking out for him. You know what I mean? Right. And so I completely understand, because you have to have that ability to empathize that they're not all trying to be career cats. Like, I've wanted to do this since I was in diapers, you know, and so because I saw my dad, you know, doing a military thing. So if they allow me to stay, I'm gonna stay. But that's real what you said. That does happen, and that's real. And that's where mental health comes in too, because people, you pushing them, and like, this ain't what they want, boss. Like, this ain't. Find another way to get to the person and interact with them to see why they're not doing the job.
Yeah, that's one of the things. Like when I don't think you ever, but yeah, it's like, so like when we was having those little conversations over in Kuwait, shout out to Gibbs.
Oh yeah, Gibbs. Yeah, shout out to Gibbs.
When he was doing those little little small conversations, and a lot of time, and one of the
EO talks.
One of the things that we did talk about was like disciplined soldiers, and kind of like how to get soldiers how to discipline them, the way that you used to see it, opposed to now, where it's more or less like you can't really smoke soldiers and X, Y, Z, or whatever the case may be. So you got your harsh discipline, then you got the paperwork aspect of it. And the thing about I just made 34, right? And I've been in since 2010. So from the time I got to my first unit, like, they would always be like, oh, we know we can call on Swanagan, ask him to do whatever, and he'll do it, blah, blah, blah. And me personally, as a person, I never come into nothing feeling like I'm owed anything, feel like I'm deserving of anything. I feel like you should always work hard to get where you want to go. So that's just my mentality in general. Like, I don't mind working, because you have to start off somewhere. You can't just come in as an E2, E3, E4 and feel like you can talk to an E5 or E6 a certain type of way. I don't care what you see. I don't care what you've seen or what you've heard. And a lot of times that's that's the disconnect, because a lot of people feel too entitled. I don't know why. I can't explain why. But I feel like at this point, it's a lot of people that feel entitled to certain things that they haven't even gained. Like, when it comes to the level of respect, I'm gonna respect you because you're a man. I'm gonna respect you because you put your pants on the same way I do, and I don't want to be respected. Now, if I start to disrespect you, that would be because I saw something personal or something that I encountered with you as a person, and I'm like, I just can't rock with this person. I just keep my distance from them. But a lot of the times, like I said, like, these soldiers now, they come in and it's like you might not even get them standing at parade rest for you. And I'm not saying it like,
I agree.
It's like it's that little military bearing. It's like, where did it go? At what point, like, where did it just become like so few and far between?
Like, speak on that. To speak on that, there's been a lack of discipline throughout the organization. And see, the problem is there's also a level of people not, maintaining military bearing. And so they'll interact with the troops. So they'll interact with certain people at certain levels, say a platoon leader or something like that. And the platoon leader, and I ain't really get down like this, but the platoon leader dapping them up, their leadership is, hey, what up, bro? And I'm like, and there were times where, and I've had my leaps and bounds where, because it's a balance, and I had to learn this, because I didn't know anybody. So you trying to gain their respect, and you trying to, like, get them to do stuff, and you can't come in hard charging because they don't know you like that, or they've heard whatever, whatever it is. So you reach that balance where it's like, okay, how are we sliding? And then I had to use my NCOs to get me back in check. Like, hey, sir, we got this. This ain't, in a respectful way. Hey, we need you to handle these things. Look out for us. And I'm like, you know what? You handle that lane. But if you get out of pocket, I'm going to have to step in and we're going to have a different conversation. But, we got to the end of deployment where we was working like a well-oiled machine because we had both those aspects of respect. But at the same time, at the bottom, I'm going to be honest, when it came to Guard and Reserve units, you see people just talk to lieutenant colonels with their hands in the hallway.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so when you see that when I was a young troop, when I was a specialist back in the day, when I was a private first class, I showed up at the unit, and I'm like, okay, everybody's just walking around like no customs and courtesies. This was back in the reserves. And I'm like, dude, what is this? And then somebody tried to check me. Like, why aren't you at parade rest? I don't care. Like, I will be at parade rest. You know what I'm saying? I'm a private. I owe them the respect. But when somebody with the same rank that your partner ain't doing it, now we've got an issue. You know what I'm saying? And I noticed that, and that's how that goes. That's how that rolls. And then you get people disrespecting people. And the last person you want to disrespect is a supply sergeant.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I'm like, no, like
supply and mechanic.
It can be the best. that's why I was like, hey, I treated y'all with the customs and courtesies. I'm like, hey, I need this done. How can we get this done? I'm not saying why and we do this, why and we do that. I'm like,
Yeah,
how?
yeah.
How can we
But see,
work? Can we find a common ground?
I even feel like that just go back to people's upbringing, because it's just certain things, like I said, like you have to understand that you got to start from somewhere. You just can't come. You're not gonna go in Amazon thinking you the CEO and
But
you
even if you
moving.
got hired as the manager,
Yeah,
that's
but see, and that's another thing. Like you still have to build. You
have to
still
build
have to build
relationships.
that relationship and that rapport with people. One of the worst things in the world. And I don't knock anybody who, like, you know, I'm just gonna use a different example, but like
Speak
I
on it
know that sometimes that's how it works in the military. Like people go through ROTC and they've never been in the military a
at
day in
all.
their life,
I get it.
and they become an officer. But it was the same thing when I was working for the railroad. They were hiring managers that had, dude, their field. I mean, first off, it's no degree in this earth that can help you be work for the railroad, to be a conductor or be an engineer. But they were legit just hiring people with no background in that industry, and they were managers. And I mean, all they had to do was just read the same rules and guidelines that we had to read. And I'm like, well, I could be a manager if it's that easy. You know what I'm saying? Like it's no different than me just reading the same rules and guidelines and understanding that, hey, this is what you're supposed to do and this is what you're not supposed to do. So, like, a lot of the times when you don't have a person in that field working in that field, and they get these manager positions and they get these positions of high ranking positions, they don't they they feel like the way that they're going is the right way when it's not. And
And they
it's
go
not,
Rambo.
and it's all about finding your lane.
Yeah, no, and y'all
It's
taught me
trial
that.
and error. It's trial and error, but you
Yeah,
gotta
yeah,
find it.
y'all taught me that on the deployment. Like there's a difference between reading about chemical stuff and
Yeah.
knowing how it worked.
And yeah, exactly.
Shout out to uh Lieutenant Slattery. But she did an excellent job in the fact that, like, I really didn't know my lane. And it's hard a lot of times, as you know, like you trying to prove yourself, and you know what I'm saying, you look at ranks and stuff, you're like, yeah, but da 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 da. But I'm like, if I would have, it changed me as a man. I talked about it in a podcast that I put out today with Mike Tyson. I was like, that deployment changed me as a leader, because now I'm like, you know what, there's a time and a place for me to, drop the hammer, but at the same time, there's also a time and a place for you to listen and sit back and be like, hey, how does this go? Show
Right.
me,
Yeah.
please. You know,
And there's nothing wrong with asking. You
but
know what
that's
I'm
hard.
saying?
That's hard for a lot of people. You got to understand,
It is
like,
hard.
these cats, they went to college, they doing all this stuff, and but they don't have that humility. They don't know what it feels like to be that person on the other end that knows it. And you know what I mean? Because a lot of
Yeah.
times you get these kids off the streets that they, not streets, but they pulling them in, they giving them a degree, then they getting out there, and they just want to pay off. They just wanted to pay off debt. They wanted a
Exactly.
degree.
Yeah. So they like, I got this good paying whatever job, and I'm getting X
They
amount
clock in
out the door. Yeah. So
and they out the door. That's the hardest part, because we told everybody to go get these degrees, and we're suffering on trades
yeah, yeah. That
heavy. But I think
that's
it's beautiful, because guess what? If I get it right, you know what I'm saying, I get my finances right, I might just go grab a trade here, go to this trade school, be debt free, and be like,
because that's kind of like I got two boys. I ain't gonna tell them what to do. I already told my son when he turns 7, I'm putting a pair of clippers in your hands. And you gonna cut my hair. So you ain't gotta cut hair. You don't have to be a barber. You don't have to do none of that. I'm
okay,
just gonna give you the opportunity to, hey, if this would I have this tool. So when I go to high school, I could be cutting a football team, basketball team. When I'm in college,
man,
I gotta be calling daddy and mommy for lunch money, because hey, I can cut the football team, I cut the basketball team, I can
man,
cut anybody, because I have this specific skill that's allowing me to keep money in my pocket. As
that's
long as
powerful.
As long as my hands is working, I should never be broke because everybody wants haircuts. There's nobody in this world that don't want a haircut. You know what I'm saying? There's nobody in this world that don't want a haircut. As long as I can do that and I can supply that, I'm good. Even if it's $50, one person just for look. If I just need quick gas money, and
think about it.
Need a haircut, I can do that. You see what I'm saying?
At one point in time, I would have paid $50 for a haircut.
Yeah, I mean,
there was one night, you know, I'm like, man, I got to get fresh for this thing. Ain't no barber around.
It happens.
And that's that same fire that inspired me to, you know, I got the Babylist, I got the magic clips, I got.
but look, it's almost like I was looking at something about hey, hold on real quick. I got to get my charger for my phone.
No, you good? Go ahead. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So, like that. I mean, $50 for a cut now is almost normal.
That's the wild part, right?
Yeah. Well,
but like, imagine them college students. Like, that's deep. Look, as a father, that is man stuff. Even as a father, if you taught your daughter how to cut hair, like, you just got to think about, like, that's live.com. That's how you change legacies. That's how you change generations, because there are people right now, like, I have a homeboy who used to cut me up when I was in college, and he wanted a job at Jimmy John's, you know, and I'm like, cool, whatever, you know, follow your path, whatever you think it is. But I'm like, you've got the juice. You've always had the juice.
Yeah.
And I love the fact that I'm a life learner, because I was like, you know what, this is making me mad. So I went and got the Walmart when, you know, he stopped cutting hair in college, and I was like, I got to do what I got to do. And then years later, you just don't know how powerful what you said was, because years later, I'm spending, you know, $300 for, you know, multiple sets of clippers that work. And I got I got my Andes too that I use with the combo. And, you know, the Babylist is too sharp sometimes. So I use it to, you know, get it down. And then I take the Andes and hit it, you know what I'm saying? But it's just like, those things will make you look super fresh. So if you do it for yourself, cool. But if you learn on yourself, it's way easier when you start cutting other people, because you like, okay, I can't go up this. I got to flip the clippers and I got to do because you did all this. That's how Carter, my platoon sergeant, that's how he started cutting.
Yeah,
you know, he was just
shout out to Big Sarge.
Yeah, I don't know if he gonna watch it. You know how they is with social media, but go ahead.
Yeah. But no, bro, that's how I started cutting hair. I legit, I went to a barbershop, and all I wanted was like a lining and a taper. This was in 2008, 9. And dude, I'm talking about a lining and a taper. I didn't need a haircut. I needed a lining and a taper. So mind you, lining and a taper right now would probably cost you $25, $30. But that's what he charged me back in 2008. And I said, I paid it, but I was thinking in my head, I didn't even get a full haircut. But a lot of barbers got that mentality. If I turn on these clippers, if I use these clippers, that's a haircut. So, because I was used to paying them $25 for a regular haircut in general. But when he said the line and the tape was 25, I looked at him like, dang, like, I come to you, bro. Like, what?
Like, you my guy. You feel me?
Like this is one of the line, and this took all of 10 minutes. Like, and you charged me 25, but time is money, so I'm like, all right, whatever.
I respect the game.
Yeah,
but that don't mean I gotta play it.
But from that moment on, I had grabbed my own. It was like something happened.
You had an epiphany.
Yeah, epiphany, whatever. It was just like God's vision for me to start looking for clippers. I opened up a newspaper, and I saw some sales at this beauty supply store. They had the gray T outliners on sale for $39.99. Boy, I went up there so fast. I grabbed them. And then I had bought these. I went to Walmart, got some Conair clippers, and I was just butchering myself until I got it right. You know what I'm saying?
And it happens all the time. Like this side to be great sometimes, this side to be.
Hey, everything is trial and error. Because even now, sometimes I feel like I don't get it right on myself, but people still be looking at me like, "Dang, you fresh, you fresh."
But then, my listeners, I need y'all to go check him out on Instagram. I got his Instagram on there. My man is cold. He cold.
Yeah,
you know
I do a little something. You know, I play around with it a little bit. You know, I'm a humble beast, but I do my thing. I do what I'm supposed to do. Yeah, if I'm gonna be a barber, then I got to be lacing. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
I ain't gonna put it out there if I can't.
Nah, that's cool. I'll speak on it.
If I can't give you the product, you know what I'm saying? I can't stand on my own product, then I ain't gonna push it. You feel me? But of course, like I said, I've been doing it enough for me to feel comfortable to say that I'm pretty decent, and all I'm gonna do is get better. That's why I'm just trying to take it to a whole nother level where I can think about the school aspect of it, mentoring people, getting some suites together, still thinking about the mobile barber thing. So it's a lot of things that I'm trying to work into to fruition with this barbering thing, and I can't let up. I got two young men that's watching me, and I'm trying my best to make sure they see the best example of being a man and being a worker, being a businessman, just being a gentleman out here, a black man.
That's real. And you know what? You also are like one of the most humblest barbers I've ever had, and that's what I respected about you. Because if something looked different or you wanted it different, you was always open to that. A lot of barbers aren't open to feedback, and it stunts your growth. I'll never go back to a barber, and then the ones that just they talk, and then Milana looks sideways, and they get offended. I ain't never going back to that shop, dog. Like, it's too many shops out here. I remember at one point where you were like, this shop just open for this day or whatever. But like when I went back to my hometown, like it was a bunch of shops. So it was a shop. I mean, they don't know me. I'm not a street dude. I've never really been, Right. And when I lived in the projects, I just, I had 5 sisters, so I had to lay low, take care of them, they was looking out for me. Hey, you don't do this, go do that. You know what I'm saying? Like, so it was like, I'm not well known, but if I walk in a barbershop, hey, bro, oh yeah, I got you. Like, if it's only, you know what I'm saying? Or, hey, we can't get you in today, I'm stocked. People wasn't communicating in my hometown. And I'm in uniform, bro. Like, I was driving through because I was taking a career course. But I had to go to Arnett's, you know what I'm saying, on the east side where I grew up, and they treated me just like family. That was where I got one of my first cuts when I was real little. But it was just like, but the humility there, he was like, oh, bro, hey, you like that? Hey, we gonna make you straight. You know what I'm saying? Like, the conversation just flowed. It was like, they was like, hey, man, I see you waving. You know what I'm saying? You got the wave, bro. I see you. You know what I'm saying? I got to stay ragged up. They was looking at me crazy over there when I was in Kuwait, like, why that officer got to do rag? But you got to take care of you. That appearance means everything.
You got to take care of self first.
Yeah, and I appreciate your humility with being a barber. And so with that experience, though, what is you don't complain like ever, but what is one of your pet peeves as a barber when somebody come in?
So like I want to shout out to the mothers. I love the mothers. Single and married, I don't care. But no, like one thing that I really as you see, you remember how we used to get haircuts growing up.
Yeah,
we used to get the simplest cuts in the world. Look, get the one against the grain.
Almost had a bowl on my head.
Get out my chair. Now these kids are getting cuts like they 25. But the thing about it is, if you don't train your son's hair a certain way, he's not going to get the cut is not like, look, I only have 30 minutes to an hour to make this cut look how you want.
And I'm not a magician.
I'm not a magician. I'm sorry. I want to be. I'm gonna try my best, but hey, if you ain't taking care of your son here and you just want him to get a haircut after 2 months or a month, you know what I'm saying? Like, you could at least wash it. Try to get some, get some of the stuff. You know,
Groom it.
it's all about maintaining, and
You got to
that goes
train your hair.
that
That goes
goes
for
for grown
everybody,
men
right?
too, because there's some grown men out here that don't take care of their hair like they should. You have to train your hair. You
Or
got
they
to
be
train your
ragged up
hair.
without a purpose. I'm like, dog,
Exactly.
if you gonna rag up, brush your hair, then
You
put
have
the
to brush.
do-rag on.
Yeah. Then you just matting trash
You-
on top of trash on top of trash. Like you're not even doing nothing.
Then
Like
Swag gotta pull out the
you're not
Swag
doing
gotta pull
nothing.
out the lawnmower. And
Right, exactly. And I'm about to break my clippers. And you know, these clippers too expensive. This $30 haircut finna turn into $150 haircut if you break my clippers, bro. So you know what I'm saying? But you know, I don't complain because I know I kind of got tricks and trades of how I can finesse the haircut and do certain things. You know, like if I know the shorty probably ain't had his hair washed in a while, I just do certain things where I clean his hair without really having to shampoo him. So I definitely get them together. But hold on, real quick. Hold on.
All right, you good. Yeah, I know boys be cutting up.
Yeah, you know how it goes. You know how it goes.
That
But yeah,
father life.
like I said, it's one of the tricks of the trade. Like I said, and that goes to just learning. I look, it's an industry that's forever growing. So if you're not willing to learn different things and understand different point of views, and when it comes to this hair and being open to ideas and being open to stuff, then you're not gonna keep money. Like you can't be content and you can't be stagnant. You can't be cool with just, and I mean you can be if you don't want to grow. Me, I want to grow. I'm always trying to grow in any way I can, whether it's cutting hair, me as a person, me as a father, me as whatever. Like I need to grow as a person. I can't remain the same every year. Because if I remain the same every year, every 3 months, every 2, I feel like I'm not accomplishing anything as a person. So you have to be able to grow. When it comes to hair and in that industry, things are forever changing. I have a million clippers, bro. Like I got clippers just on top of clippers on top of clippers because and I don't do it just because this the new fad or this the new thing, but if it says that it guarantees quality, I'm gonna check it out. Because me, I want to know. So I want to get something that's of quality. You see what I'm saying? Especially if I know that it's going to generate me more money.
Facts.
Because if it's cutting hair better,
Or
then
save money.
yeah, you see what I'm saying? Right. It can guarantee that it might last longer, it's more durable than a pair of whatever I have, then yes, I'm going to invest in myself. I'm going to buy them and I'm going to use them. And guess what? You might get a $5 upcharge now with your haircuts because I can stand on that product and say they work. They
Yeah,
getting me right.
that's outstanding.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? That's why I love. I ain't trying to promote no clippers, but I love Babyliss.
I was gonna ask that, so go
Yeah,
ahead, speak on it.
I love Babyliss. I love Walls. You can't go wrong with the Andes Masters. The Walls Seniors, Magic Clips, of course, the Babyliss with the FX. I got 2 pair of the trimmers. I got a gold pair, and now I got a black and red pair. So
Now you just styling out here. I see you.
I got the cordless mask.
You got the Ferraris?
I heard about them.
Yeah, I had to cop the Ferraris. They got the Ferraris with the, I think it's got like a carbon it's some type of different
Blade on it.
yeah, like I got that one. I just saw it and I was like, you know what? Like I was looking at clippers and I was getting a bunch, and then I saw like the magic clips and I was like, I gotta cop those. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
the magic clips give you a good fade. But at this point, everything is also cordless. So
Yeah,
like,
I had to. You put me
yeah,
on. Shout out to you
yeah.
because I kept I burnt
Hey,
out.
and shout out to Lasta because he the reason why I got the walls, why I got the cordless walls. I mean the cordless detailers, because I wasn't even gonna get the cordless detailers. And then he was like, bro, they smacking and hitting out the box. And I got him. I think I cut T-Rod. Shout out T-Rod. I think I cut his hair, and I'm like, yo, they chopping right out the box. I ain't had to set them. I ain't had to do nothing. I'm like, oh, these are go-to. And the best thing, they work on my kids. They work on any kid. They not too sharp, but they get you sharp.
You talking about the wireless babbleses, or are you talking about the?
No, I'm talking about the detailers.
Oh wow, okay.
Yeah, the wall detailers.
I copped those. The one that's actually the ones I have. I don't have the Andes. I got the detailers. Yeah, they out the box. I ain't have to adjust them or nothing.
You ain't got to.
Like I still to this day, like I use them to shave because they're a little more tender than the babblers. The babblers, I can't really even zero gap. Like I gotta like
if you look, my babblers, they hidden. But if I like, they hidden because I when I set my blade, I do it by like I don't use the setters and things like that. I really use my eyes so I can see.
To. The setters are kind of weird.
Yeah, the setters are weird. Either they don't do enough or they do too much.
Man, 3 weeks ago, 4 weeks ago, I was looking like I was looking like Swiss cheese. Like my line is like I had to.
and you don't know until it's all said and done.
That night you fresh.
Right. It don't pop up on you until like the next day or two. And then you like, wow, I just cut myself up and I ain't noticed.
Like, I'm out here looking crazy. Like,
like somebody just razor blades your whole head up. So, but like I usually set all my tools to a point where it could touch women, kids, adults, elderly, but that's also another reason why I usually have more than one of everything. So,
and you also use the razor because I've realized like instead of there's a guy that makes videos, but he was talking about like really like you shouldn't really zero gap. Like if you're gonna try to get that close, you should probably get a razor because that's kind of what they made for. Like the thinner the piece. Like I love chopping it up with you because like I just be, watching different videos. I be watching 360G. I be watching everybody just to cut my own hair because I'm like, man, I can learn. Like the how we always connected is we lifelong learners. Yeah. And that's what you gotta be, especially in this game.
Yeah, because that's what I'm saying.
You here today, going tomorrow.
You can't be stagnant. You got to be trying to figure out any and everything that's new. Dude, I watch videos like I ain't never watched videos before. I look at every day. I'm looking at like at least 2 or 3 videos of different cuts, and I'm looking at people's techniques. And I'm like,
and as millennials, we got that magic. Like it's all over. Like it's free. It's free
game. They give.
You can do anything you want. I mean, you got to be consistent for a long time. Just keep putting in the work. Most of the people that got to that level, I try to stress to people all the time, 5 to 10 years, just keep your head down, keep evolving and keep grinding. Like I'm like, this podcast, Joe Rogan's first podcast was like 10 plus years ago. And then before that, he was in the entertainment industry.
Right.
Like his first podcast was bogus.
Yeah.
And like
everything is stepping stone.
Yeah, and so people think, and that's why I started the podcast, because I get tired of people. They're like, "Oh yeah, you successful? How you do this? How you do that?" And like, I'm not tired of it. It's just like, let me put it out there and be like, if you watch this video, it's gonna help you. I got somebody on that's a barber. You interested in that? Now you got to connect. You know what I'm saying? He plugged. Now you get. That's why I highlight y'all, because it's beautiful watching all of y'all become successful in y'all own lanes, and y'all been putting in the work, and that's been the function.
I appreciate you for creating that platform, and that's what it's about. It's all about networking, man. That's what this world is about. Like, it's a weird cliche. It's not what you know, it's who you know. But a lot of times it is who you know.
And you got to make your team.
Yeah,
You got to craft it.
most definitely, because you got to build that bond and that relationship, and you got to be able to understand it. I try to never burn bridges unless I completely feel a certain type of way about somebody. I never try to burn bridges with anybody because you never know who that person, what that person can be to you in the future.
And a little grace goes a long way.
It goes a long way,
people
man.
be going through stuff, man. People be going
and
through it.
And that's another thing. You never know what a person going through, so you can't always determine your relationship off one bad situation. But
that's real.
That's a different conversation. But a lot of us, that's how people feel. They like, when it come to like first impressions and things like that. And I get that, but sometimes people they just not feeling the day. They're not feeling that time. They're not feeling that moment. And you can't knock them. And I'm a person. I'm a realist. I'm optimistic, but I'm also pessimistic because I understand life. I understand life. Like no matter what you do, life is gonna give you what it's gonna give you.
And at any time, it could be over.
Anytime. So it's like you can try your best to be the happiest. You can try your best to,
but that ain't real.
Be more. Exactly. And it's an unfortunate thing, but it's not. It's not real because this is not Disneyland. When I go outside,
but the hardship. I tell you what, the hardship make everything else that's sweeter better. Yeah. And that's the correlation between that deployment that we had and coming back. I look at the rain different. I look at the snow and the ice different. It still sucked. Like, I'm gonna be honest, like, whatever. But sometimes I'll be driving in a FedEx truck on the highway and I'm looking at like, this snow is so beautiful right now.
Yeah.
Because it was hot. We couldn't even drink water.
We was miserable.
And it was just Kuwait. Like it ain't like we was, what I'm saying? Like Maputo was out on the border. That was trash. That sucked. But we was glad to serve our country and do what we need to do. You know what I'm saying? We got our little accolades. We even came back with a little extra ribbon. Like shout out to Decon too. They held it down. I'm proud of y'all. You know what I'm saying?
Shout out to y'all.
Man, we appreciate the support.
Y'all probably made it easier for the unit because I ain't gonna lie to you, like with all the stuff that was going on, y'all probably made it easier. Y'all definitely made it easier for yourselves because y'all was out the way, out of sight.
Hey, sometimes that's the best way to be. You know what I'm saying? Especially after the promotion. Like I didn't want to butt heads with them. You know me. Like the thing is, a lot of the other leadership, they didn't know me. You know what I'm saying? Like we had chopped it up on numerous occasions, and I just want to do my job, support the team, and be the best leader I possibly can. That's it. I don't do it for the bread. I do it for the troops because you just never know, you know what I'm saying, whose life you might affect and you might change. And I notice it's through the troops that we succeed.
I mean, like, even though, everybody had their own different feelings about the deployment, but, I felt like I definitely gained a lot of friends, a lot of different companionships with different people, such as yourself, anybody else that I was able to relate to, just understanding people and learning people. It was definitely a learning experience, nonetheless. I can't say I do it again, but I won't take it back.
I ain't one of those optimistic people either. People like, you smiling and happy? And I'm like, yeah, but it's over. Let's move forward.
Exactly. But I wouldn't take the experience back because I came back different.
Well, you got blessed because COVID happened. Imagine what finances would have looked like.
And dude, that man, no BS. That's one of the main things that I am so grateful for. Like, because I'm like, man, like if I was out here just thinking about me risking my health, risking my kids and my family's health, and like, because whether we took it serious or not, the COVID thing, it exists.
Yeah.
Some
and people was dying.
And people were dying. Barbers were dying. Barbers were I read at least like 3 or 4 stories where barbers that were still cutting, like at home or going to people's houses, they were dying. Yeah. People like legit, they were dying from this COVID. So it's one of those things where And that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't want to take it for granted. So, like when I opened my school up, one of the things that I saw about the industry that's changed, a lot of people start moving into suites. So that's like pretty much like their own little studio kind of thing. So I figured that if I do open a school, which I plan on opening a school, when I open my school, I plan on
speed into existence.
Yeah. I don't
Napoleon Hill, Think and Grow Rich.
Exactly. I don't want the traditional barbershop. I want everything to be suites because everybody will have their own individual section, and
and they can focus.
They can focus, and they don't have to worry about how we don't have to worry about too much interaction with other people. You just kind of I have like 2 or 3 instructors, coming in, rotating around the different suites, giving the theory aspect of the barbering, and then
don't give out too much now. Don't give out too much now.
Yeah, but
you gonna do it right.
Yeah,
I don't want nobody to see this. Be like,
I'm trying to do it right because I just want to minimize the health risk and things like that. And I saw that like it was a big health risk, and I feel like COVID is not going anywhere. No. And even if it does go anywhere, the world will never be the same.
Well, and people's health is not getting better. Like a lot of people are drinking more alcohol and Pepsi and everything else, and that hampers your immune system.
Yeah,
as much as you got to focus on getting the bread, you got to focus on at least having your body in a decent state. And a lot of people don't understand it, and that's hard. And a lot of people can't. Like a lot of people, like they've been conditioned to eat, and do certain things, and they just continue doing it. And I can't even fault them because, I mean, we've kind of set them up to where like Pepsi is tied to, sexual imagery, and all this other stuff, all this great stuff that ain't got nothing to do with that.
With the
terrible potion,
right? What's in it, or the fact that you pretty much feeding us poison.
You know what I'm saying? And then they get on here and they tell motivators, "Oh, that's just that frou rah stuff," And I'm like, hold on, but you can sell them poison, but you can't sell them motivation.
Exactly.
You get mad at I don't charge for it, but it's cats out there that charge for it, but I know why they do it. You know what I'm saying? Because people value things that they pay for, unfortunately. You know what I mean? They value that Pepsi more than they value me getting on here talking for free.
Yeah.
I mean, let's keep it 100, you know what I mean? But that's the beautiful part about life is there's always an opportunity,
Yeah, always. And we just got to take advantage of those opportunities because we at that stage where, that pandemic, we still kind of going through. I feel like it birthed a lot of entrepreneurs.
Yeah, and they could be great.
Yeah, you see yourself with the podcast, and you working towards something great. So it definitely birthed a lot of vision, and a lot of people's visionaries. A lot of people having different visions. It opened my eyes. I'm sure it opened up a lot of people's eyes. It opened my eyes to life, my business platform, and how I'm trying to take things. So. It was a gift and a curse, and that's life though. Life is a gift and a curse. Like, we say you is what you make it, but some things happen because COVID was around even before we left.
It was, but nobody was taking it serious.
Exactly. And then all of a sudden, our worlds changed. You know what I'm saying? Our world changed quick. And it was just like it literally shut down.
Life went from Disneyland in Kuwait to, hey, we need these trucks to come across this border so we can retrograde out of Iraq. We need a sanitation team. And like, we had to take that serious. Like, that was a serious mission.
Yeah.
Like, all the borders, people don't understand, all the borders was shut down. Like, we couldn't get any type of logistics.
Man, it was rough. It was rough. What I mean? Being in the supply, we was barely.
Can we get some? Nah, we
can't get it. Either the places weren't open, or they just didn't have it. Because, like you said, the trucks wasn't coming through. Mail was terrible. Everything.
Cease and desist letters. I read one of the letters, swag, on the door of one of the old shops over there. I was like, that was savage. It was like you have I think it was like you have 48 hours to vacate the premises. Like the general was going hard, and he had to make that decision. You know what I mean? Otherwise, they would have got trapped on there. Yeah. And then you know what I'm saying? Like it would have been bad for people all around because it's like it was crazy. I was like, man, if I would have saw this letter, I'm like, you know, I would have taken it personally. But one thing that Kuwait also taught me was don't take nothing personally. No. You just let it go and you let it roll off and you keep it moving. Because man, if we would have taken a lot of them situations personally, that it would have drove us crazy.
Yeah.
But
I just blamed it on the heat.
Okay. All right. That's real. That's real. So we kind of, you know, I don't want to take up too much more of your time. You got any questions for me about the podcast or anything or anything?
No, bro. I mean, just keep doing your thing.
Okay.
Definitely motivation, bro. I appreciate you for having me on.
I appreciate you coming on. It's been a blessing.
Yes, sir. It's always it's always gonna be 100 when I see you anytime, bro. If we ever cross paths again, when I get out, before I get out, after I get out, you know, it's all 100. It's always
no facts. Let me know when you get that barber school jumping. Let me know. I might, you know what I'm saying, join the school, get my skills up. And then, you know, you can always, if I'm cutting my own hair, I can always pocket some clippers. So I hear somebody, hey man, anybody in town need a cut? Here I come. What you mean? Oh, okay. How much you got some bread? That's a $50 hour. You feel me? So, you know,
let them know.
It's a lot of hands in the go too, you know.
It's too many. Yeah. So I only got 2 hands, but I'm trying to get them all, though.
Ladies and gentlemen, this has been a podcast with Collier Swanagan. We appreciate you coming on the podcast, brother.
All right, I appreciate you too, bro.
All right, be easy.
All right, man. Take care.